of the Obama people knew that there was this corruption issue with Joe and Hunter. And when Trump brought it up, they impeached him for it because they wanted to cover for not only Joe and Hunter, but Obama. So I was commenting, I think I was on Maria's bottle, was I? I think I was on Maria's show, Fox Business, and I made the point here. It's amazing what this corrupt city wants us to do. They just want us to pretend that all these terrible things and acts of corruption that happened simply don't matter anymore, and that we're all supposed to move along. I mean, for example, there was new information released by the New York Times. They were stonewalled by their own admission by the State Department that confirmed criminality and lies by Joe and Hunter Biden. I commented on it the other day from the Metro.
Hey, in case you missed it, President Trump was again vindicated when news broke that Hunter Biden solicited help from the Obama-Biden administration for Burisma. The State Department, the corrupt State Department, finally released the documents this week to the New York Times. They've been asking for them for years. Further vindication that Trump was right to pursue Burisma corruption as it related to the Bidens, and how the coup against him, the impeachment against him, was so corrupt and dishonest, obviously designed to protect Biden from accountability. And of course, this city is so corrupt. Obviously, Obama knew about this corruption as well, and they all need to be held fully accountable. It's not too late.
Yeah, and this is what I tweeted about it, referencing the New York Times story. So he asked the State Department, I think it was the U.S. Embassy in Italy, for help in setting up meetings for Burisma. Even the New York Times admitted, this is their language, after President Biden dropped his re-election bid, his administration released records showing that while he was vice president, his son solicited U.S. government assistance. And as I highlight parenthetically, the Obama gang knew all about Biden corruption. I've highlighted previously to you before how the State Department knew full well what Hunter Biden was up to with Burisma. We had uncovered documents, actually it's now 2 or 3 years ago, showing that the State Department and the Ukraine embassy understood that Biden had a corruption problem with, or at least the appearance of a corruption problem with Hunter's role in the Burisma board, a controversial Ukrainian company that was under investigation for corruption. And what happened is the ambassador, Yovanovitch, remember her, the anti-Trump ambassador, was communicating with another State Department official, and that other official said, hey, look, Biden is going, and he went to Ukraine just before Trump came into office. The Russians were, and he was supposedly on an anti-corruption mission, and the Russians were mocking him in Russian-controlled media or aligned media, saying that it's basically Joe Biden's son, Hunter, his involvement in Burisma makes his opposition to corruption in Ukraine a sick joke. And according to the State Department document, they said the Russians were trolling the administration, the Obama administration, and they said Burisma was the gift that kept on giving. So all of the Obama people knew that there was this corruption issue with Joe and Hunter. And when Trump brought it up, they impeached him for it because they wanted to cover for not only Joe and Hunter, but Obama, because he allowed this corruption to fester under his watch as his top people tried to manage Hunter's leveraging of Joe Biden's public office for private gain. And so now we have this further confirmation from the State Department that they covered up for years that Hunter was doing exactly what we were told never happened, which was lobbying the federal government while his father was vice president for help for his company. And we have all been told those were lies. when in fact that was the truth. And we have new information coming out from the corrupt Justice Department investigation of Hunter that was curtailed and restricted in a way to protect Hunter and Joe from full accountability for this foreign bribery scandal. That Hunter was doing this repeatedly with other countries, including Romania, for example. And his work for Burisma with Italy and lobbying the U.S. government, those are other bribery issues, or what they call the Foreign Agents Registration Act, that weren't pursued by this corrupted Justice Department. They let the statute of limitations lapse. So it's good there's something going on, but the only reason anything's going on against Hunter Biden, whether it be those gun charges that he was convicted of or the tax charges he's currently facing, is because their corrupt scheme to shuffle it all away through a sweetheart plea agreement was blown up by a federal court judge in Delaware who asked some intemperate questions. I shouldn't say intemperate because they were really basic. And the whole thing collapsed under the weight of its own corruption. And so they were kind of forced to do these bare minimum of indictments against Hunter. So what did Kamala Harris know? When did she know about Burisma? You know, these are the sorts of questions that I have. I understand Republicans are running, President Trump is running for president. And, you have to remember, campaigns have specific goals they need to address or try to achieve. And that often means they're not going to focus on the issues someone like me would focus on. And this is why it's important to have an independent civil society, independent groups who raise these questions because they deserve answers. Because candidates may not have the capacity to raise it, or, they're focused on something else. And that's the charitable interpretation. Some politicians never want to raise corruption issues. And this is why Judicial Watch always comes up and stands strong for the truth and accountability on these corruption issues. We don't give up on them. Even if people say, oh, you should move along. Oh, President Biden was removed through a coup from the head of the ticket for president by the Democratic Party. How did that happen, as I say? Who picked Kamala Harris to run for president? No one's asked that question. What about those 14, 15 million votes? They're all just been disappeared by the Democratic Party. How is that democracy? I think there are serious issues about how she became the nominee. I was just looking at records today, and I noticed all of the campaign headquarters is up in Delaware. I mean, talk about the coup. I mean, they moved into Biden's offices up in Delaware. And I know the media is complaining, and many others are complaining, that Kamala isn't wanting to talk. Why should she talk? It's perfectly consistent with a coup. I mean, Biden essentially admitted the other day, we didn't talk about it before the show, it just occurred to me now, so I don't think we had the video, that he left because of pressure from Nancy Pelosi. And then Nancy Pelosi had a video the other day, or an interview the other day, where she says the letter that Biden resigned with didn't sound like Biden. Who is running the government right now? We're supposed to forget about Biden's cognitive difficulties, his disability? I don't think we should forget it. I think we should be concerned. Every time there's a tweet, I shouldn't say every time because I don't respond to every tweet, but I often note when something comes out of the Biden White House or Joe Biden's accounts, I say whoever is running the Biden administration posted the following information. Because I don't think Joe is running the Biden administration. And those are the sorts of questions I would have for Kamala Harris. And of course, where are the Republicans in Congress, the nominally opposition party? They're on vacation for an entire, 6 weeks. So I went on vacation last week for 5 days. They're on vacation for 6 weeks. The House Republicans won't get back to Washington, D.C. until September 8th, after Labor Day. I think that's the date. How much vacation do you get? We have inflation. We have this assassination attempt crisis. We have the border invasion. We have the coup on President Biden. The obliviation, I call it obliviation. It is a word. Obliteration is the other way of putting it. Of the 15 million votes in the primary. Biden's cognitive challenge. All those issues they don't want to talk about. They want us to move along. I'm not going to move along. Judicial Watch isn't going to move along. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.